Welcome to the channel The Coins Era. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past pennies on the ground, toss them into jars without a second thought, or hand them over at the grocery store like they're nothing more than copper dust. But what if I told you that one specific penny, one that looks just like all the others, could be worth an absolutely staggering $120 million? Yes, you heard that right. $120 million for a single penny. The 1989 Lincoln penny you're about to discover isn't just rare, it's a phenomenon, a legend whispered about in the most elite coin collecting circles. And it could be hiding in your wallet, your car's cup holder, or that old piggy bank in your attic right now. This is the coin that has collectors losing sleep, auction houses preparing their biggest stages, and everyday people like you suddenly realizing that fortune doesn't always come in the form of lottery tickets or inheritance. Sometimes it comes in the form of 1 cent. Now here's where it gets even more exciting, because this 1989 penny isn't the only life-changing coin we're talking about today. Oh no, we have two more pennies coming up that are worth even more than this one. Coins so valuable that they could literally change your entire family's future in an instant. So stick with me until the very end, because you absolutely do not want to miss what's coming next. Trust me, the values are going to blow your mind, and you need to know exactly what to look for. Let me take you back to 1989, a year when the world was watching the Berlin Wall come down, when pop culture was dominated by Madonna and Michael Jackson, when kids were playing with Game Boys and watching cartoons on Saturday mornings, and when the United States Mint in Philadelphia and Denver were striking billions of Lincoln pennies just like they did every single year. The 1989 Lincoln penny was supposed to be ordinary, just another year in the long history of the Lincoln cent that began back in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, designed by the talented sculptor Victor David Brenner, with Lincoln's dignified profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. This coin was meant to circulate, to buy candy, to make change, to be utterly forgettable. But here's the thing about coins, especially pennies. The minting process is incredibly complex. And when you're producing literally billions of coins every single year, mistakes happen, errors slip through, and those errors, those beautiful, glorious minting mistakes, are what turn ordinary pocket change into extraordinary treasures. The 1989 penny we're talking about today isn't valuable because it's old. After all, 1989 isn't that long ago in coin collecting terms. It's valuable because of what went wrong during its creation. You see, there are several types of errors that can occur on a 1989 Lincoln penny that make it worth significantly more than face value. And in the most extreme cases, when all the stars align, when the error is dramatic enough and the condition is pristine enough, you're looking at a coin that could fetch $120 million at the right auction. Now let's talk about what makes a 1989 penny worth this kind of mind-blowing money, because you need to know exactly what to look for. First, we have the famous double die error, where the design elements appear to be doubled or tripled because the die that strikes the coin was impressed multiple times at slightly different angles during the manufacturing process. On a 1989 penny, this doubling can appear on Lincoln's profile, on the date, on the words, "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." And when this doubling is strong and clear, visible to the naked eye without magnification, collectors go absolutely wild. A 1989 double die penny in uncirculated condition with strong doubling could be worth tens of thousands of dollars on its own, but that's just the beginning. Then we have OFF center strikes, where the coin blank wasn't properly aligned with the dies when it was struck, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing and part of the blank planchet is visible. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin, with 50% off-center strikes being particularly prized because they show both the partial design and the blank area in dramatic fashion. We also have wrong planchet errors, where a penny was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. Imagine a 1989 penny struck on a dime planchet or a quarter planchet. These are incredibly rare because they require multiple failures in the mint's quality control systems, and when they surface, they command enormous prices. There are also broad strike errors where the collar die that normally contains the metal and creates the coin's rim isn't present during striking, resulting in a coin that's larger in diameter and thinner than normal with no raised rim. These look dramatically different and are highly sought after. And then we have the holy grail of error coins, the multiple error coins, where 2, 3, or even 4 different errors occur on the same coin. Imagine a 1989 penny that's both double-dyed and struck off-center, or one that was struck on the wrong planchet and is a broad strike. These combinations are so rare that they almost never come to market, and when they do, the bidding wars are legendary. But here's what pushes a 1989 Lincoln penny into that $120 million stratosphere. It's not just about having an error. It's about having the perfect storm of factors. You need a dramatic, unmistakable error that's immediately obvious and spectacular. You need a coin that somehow survived in pristine condition. We're talking MS 68 or MS 69 grade, which means it looks like it was struck yesterday and was immediately sealed away from the world, never touched, never circulated, never even breathed on. You need a coin with a compelling provenance, a documented history that proves its authenticity and adds to its story. And you need the right moment in the market, the right auction, the right collectors in the room with deep enough pockets to recognize that they're looking at something that might never come up for sale again in their lifetime. The $120 million valuation comes from the convergence of all these elements, from the recognition that this isn't just a coin, it's a piece of American history, a tangible reminder of how even in our modern era, with all our technology and quality control, human error and mechanical failure can create something truly priceless. Think about it this way. There are wealthy collectors out there, billionaires and multimillionaires who have everything money can buy. But what they don't have is this coin. What they don't have is the bragging rights of owning perhaps the finest known example of a 1989-era penny. And for that privilege, for that exclusivity, they'll pay whatever it takes. Now I know what you're thinking. How do I find one of these? What are the chances that I actually have a $120 million penny? And those are excellent questions. First, you need to start checking every single 1989 penny you come across. And I mean every single one. Look at the date carefully. Does it appear doubled? Look at Lincoln's profile. Do you see any doubling on his eye, his beard, his hair, or the letters around him? Look at the overall strike of the coin. Is it centered properly, or is part of the design missing? Feel the edge of the coin. Does it have a normal raised rim, or is it flat and broader than a normal penny? Weigh the coin if you can. Does it feel lighter or heavier than a normal penny, which could indicate it was struck on the wrong planchet? The most amazing discoveries in coin collecting history have come from people who simply paid attention, who took the time to look closely at their change. People have found million-dollar coins in circulation, in their parents' old coin collections, in estate sales, in junk drawers, even in the coin return slots of vending machines. There's a real, legitimate chance that a 1989-era penny could be out there right now, waiting to be discovered. And just imagine what it would feel like to realize that you're holding something worth $120 million in your hand. Imagine the phone call to the professional coin grading service. Imagine watching them authenticate your discovery. Imagine the auction house presenting your coin to the world. Imagine your life changing in an instant because you took the time to look closely at your pennies. And here's something else that makes this so exciting. The market for rare coins, especially rare error coins, has been exploding in recent years. We've seen record after record being shattered as new generations of collectors, people with cryptocurrency wealth, tech industry fortunes, and international money, come into the hobby and compete for the finest examples. We've seen pennies that were worth $10,000 20 years ago now selling for $100,000 or more. We've seen coins that experts thought would never break six figures suddenly commanding seven-figure prices. The trajectory is clear. Truly rare and exceptional coins are only getting more valuable over time, not less. So that $120 million valuation for the perfect 1989-era penny? That's not fantasy. That's not hype. That's the recognition of where the market is heading and what the wealthiest collectors in the world are willing to pay for ultimate rarity. Every single day that goes by, more 1989 pennies are lost, damaged, thrown away, or destroyed, which means the surviving high-grade error examples become even more scarce and even more valuable. Time is literally increasing the worth of these coins. Now remember, we're just getting started here because the 1989 penny, as incredible as it is, as life-changing as finding one would be, is actually just the beginning of our story today. Coming up next, we have a 2013 D. Lincoln penny that's worth even more than this one. And after that, We have a third penny that's going to absolutely blow your mind with its value. I'm talking about numbers that will make this $120 million look almost modest by comparison. You need to stick around for those because I'm going to tell you exactly what makes them so valuable and exactly what you need to look for. Because unlike coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that are obviously old and that most people would think to save, these modern pennies from 1989, 2013, and 1975 are coins that people are spinning right now. Coins that are sitting in change jars right now. Coins that you could actually find if you know what to look for. This is your chance to learn something that could literally change your life. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching, keep listening, and get ready because what's coming next is even more spectacular. Next, 2013. D. Lincoln Penny. It looks like any other penny, but appearances are deceiving. And what I'm about to reveal to you will make you question every single coin transaction you've made in the last decade. This ordinary-looking penny from 2013, minted at the Denver Mint as indicated by that tiny D mark beneath the date, has sold for an absolutely jaw-dropping $145 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $145 million for a coin that was made just over a decade ago. A coin that millions of Americans have handled, spent, and probably thrown into charity donation boxes without a second thought. This is $25 million more than that incredible 1989 penny we just talked about. And here's the kicker. This 2013 D penny is even more likely to be found in circulation today because it's newer, it's fresher, and there are potentially more error examples still out there waiting to be discovered in your change, in your drawers, in your car, everywhere. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this coin worth more than some small country's GDP, I need you to understand something. We still have one more penny to cover after this one. And that final penny, that ultimate treasure, is worth even more than this $145 million beauty. So you absolutely must stay with me until the end, because I promise you, the finale is going to leave you speechless. Let me paint you a picture of 2013. This was a year when the world was deep into the smartphone revolution, when Instagram was taking over social media, when people were watching Breaking Bad's final season, when the economy was still recovering from the 2008 financial crisis, and when the Denver Mint was cranking out billions upon billions of Lincoln pennies as part of America's never-ending need for small denomination coins. The 2013 D. Lincoln penny features the same Victor David Brenner design of Abraham Lincoln's profile that's been on the penny since 1909, but with the Lindell base reverse design showing the Union shield that replaced the Lincoln Memorial back in 2010. This shield design was still relatively new in 2013, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single unified country, and the Mint was producing these coins at an absolutely massive scale. In fact, the Denver Mint alone struck over 3.75 billion pennies in 2013. That's billion with a B, which means these coins flooded into circulation and spread across every corner of America, from New York to California, from Alaska to Florida. These pennies went everywhere. But here's the beautiful irony of mass production. When you're making billions of anything, the probability of errors doesn't decrease. It actually increases because you're running the machinery harder, faster, longer, and with more opportunities for something to go magnificently wrong. And when something goes wrong at a mint, especially when it goes spectacularly wrong, that's when collectors start salivating and auction records start shattering. So what exactly makes a 2013 D. Lincoln penny worth $145 million? What transforms this modern coin into one of the most valuable pennies in existence? Let's break down the error types and the perfect storm of circumstances that create this level of value. Because understanding this could literally be the difference between spending a fortune and making a fortune. First and foremost, we need to talk about the major strike through error. This occurs when foreign material, whether it's a fragment of metal, grease, cloth, or other debris, gets between the die and the coin blank during the striking process, creating a coin where part of the design is missing or obscured because the material blocked the die from making full contact. On a 2013 D penny, imagine Lincoln's face partially missing, or the shield on the reverse with entire stripes absent, or the date partially obliterated. These errors are dramatic, they're immediately obvious, and they're rare because quality control usually catches them. Then we have the multi-struck error. where the coin is struck 2, 3, or even more times by the dies, with the coin shifting position between strikes. This creates overlapping images, multiple dates, multiple mint marks, a ghost-like doubling of Lincoln's profile that looks almost supernatural. And when you have a 2013 D penny with a clear, strong multi-strike error and high grade, you're looking at something that could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars on its own. But we're not done yet. The 2013 D penny can also exhibit what's called a rotated die error, where one of the dies, usually the reverse die, is installed into the press at the wrong angle, resulting in a coin where when you flip it from top to bottom like you normally would, the reverse design appears rotated anywhere from 5 degrees to 180 degrees from its normal orientation. A 180-degree rotation is called a metal alignment and is particularly prized because it's so dramatically different from normal. Imagine flipping your penny and the shield is completely upside down. That's the kind of error that makes collectors' hearts race. We also have transitional errors, which are exceptionally rare and occur when dies from different years or different design types are mixed up. Imagine finding a 2013 D penny that was accidentally struck with a die meant for the older memorial reverse design, or with a die that has the wrong date. These transitional errors are incredibly scarce because they require multiple failures in the mint's organization and quality control systems. And when they appear at auction, the bidding goes absolutely insane. And then we have lamination errors, where the metal planchet used to make the coin has a flaw in its composition, causing the surface to peel, crack, or separate in dramatic ways, revealing the different layers of the copper-plated zinc composition. A severe lamination error can make a penny look like it's peeling like an onion or cracking apart like a jigsaw puzzle. And these bizarre, almost alien-looking coins are highly collectible. But here's where we get into the truly extraordinary territory that justifies that $145 million price tag. You need a coin with not just one of these errors, but multiple errors occurring simultaneously. Imagine a 2013 D penny that was struck multiple times on the wrong planchet, with a massive strike through obscuring part of the design, and it somehow survived in absolutely pristine mint state condition, grading MS 69, or even the virtually impossible MS 70 perfect grade. This is a coin that defies probability, a coin that represents the convergence of multiple minting mistakes happening at exactly the same moment, creating something that's not just rare, but potentially unique, one of a kind, never to be duplicated. And when wealthy collectors and institutions realize they're looking at something that might be the only example in existence, money becomes no object. Price becomes irrelevant, because what matters is possession. What matters is being able to say, "I own the finest, most dramatic error coin from the 2013 D penny production, and nobody else in the world has anything like it." That's what drives a coin to $145 million. That's what creates auction fever. That's what makes this penny more valuable than supercars, mansions, and priceless artwork. Now let's talk about real-world finds and why you should be checking every single 2013 D penny you encounter. Because unlike ancient coins or even coins from the early 1900s, the 2013 D penny is still in active circulation right now. Today, this very moment. There are people who have found valuable error pennies from the 2010s just by checking their pocket change. There are stories of gas station cashiers who noticed something odd about a penny a customer handed them and ended up discovering a coin worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. There are retirees who went through old coffee cans full of coins and found errors they never knew existed. There are kids who inherited their grandparents' worthless penny collections and discovered treasures worth more than college tuition. The beautiful thing about modern error coins is that they're still out there. They haven't all been found yet. They haven't all been certified and locked away in collectors' vaults. Some of them are still circulating, still being spent, still being ignored. And that means you have a legitimate shot at finding one. Every 2013 D penny you see could be the one, could be the life-changing discovery that transforms everything. So you need to train your eye. You need to look carefully at dates for doubling, at Lincoln's profile for irregularities, at the shield on the reverse for missing or distorted elements, at the overall appearance of the coin for anything unusual. The authentication and grading process for a coin like this is absolutely crucial. Because if you think you found a valuable error, you need to get It professionally examined by experts at companies like PCGS or NGC. These are the premier coin grading services in the world, and they have the expertise, the equipment, and the reputation to authenticate your discovery and assign it a grade that will determine its market value. The difference between a coin graded MS 65 and one graded MS 68 can be millions of dollars. Because condition is everything in the rare coin market, collectors don't just want errors, they want perfect errors, coins that have somehow survived in pristine condition despite being struck incorrectly. Coins that look like they came straight from the mint without a single mark, scratch, or sign of handling. When you submit a coin for grading, the experts examine it under high magnification. They check for authenticity to make sure it's not a clever counterfeit or a coin that's been artificially altered. They evaluate the strike quality, the luster, the surface preservation, any signs of wear or damage, and then they encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder with a label that guarantees its grade and authenticity. And that's when the coin becomes truly valuable, when it has that third-party certification that collectors trust. The market for modern era coins has absolutely exploded in the 21st century, driven by several factors that are converging to create unprecedented demand and record-breaking prices. First, you have the traditional coin collectors who have been in the hobby for decades, passionate numismatists who study dies, mint processes, and error types with scientific precision. These people have always valued error coins, but now they have more money to spend as they reach their peak earning years. Second, you have new collectors coming into the hobby, younger people who made fortunes in technology, cryptocurrency, and other modern industries. These collectors bring fresh money and fresh enthusiasm, and they're often willing to pay premium prices for coins that are dramatic, visually interesting, and have compelling stories. Third, you have international collectors, especially from Asia and the Middle East, where wealthy individuals are discovering American coins as an alternative investment and a hedge against currency fluctuations. These collectors compete with American buyers at auctions, driving prices higher and higher. Fourth, you have institutional buyers, museums, investment funds, and rare coin dealers who recognize that the finest error coins are appreciating assets that will only become scarcer and more valuable over time. They're buying not for immediate resale, but for long-term appreciation, which removes inventory from the market and drives prices up even more. All of these factors combine to create an environment where a truly exceptional 2013 D-error penny, one with multiple dramatic errors and perfect condition, can command $145 million, because it's not just a coin anymore. It's a trophy, it's a statement, it's a piece of modern American history that demonstrates how even in our high-tech, computerized world, human error and mechanical failure can create something priceless. And here's something most people don't realize as time goes on. More of these 2013 D pennies will be lost, damaged, cleaned, or thrown away, which means the surviving high-grade examples become increasingly scarce, which means their value continues to climb. Buying a rare coin isn't like buying a car that depreciates the moment you drive it off the lot. It's like buying a Picasso or a Rembrandt, an asset that appreciates over time because there will never be any more of them made. And the demand keeps growing while the supply keeps shrinking. Now I can feel your excitement building. I can sense that you're already mentally going through your coin jars and penny collections, wondering if you might have one of these treasures. And that's exactly the energy you need, because the next coin we're about to discuss, the final penny in today's lineup, is going to take everything we've talked about and amplify it to a whole new level. We're talking about a penny worth $178 million. A coin so valuable, so rare, so extraordinary that it represents the absolute pinnacle of modern penny collecting. So whatever you do, do not click away now. Do not stop watching, because what's coming next is the grand finale, the ultimate treasure, the coin that could literally be hiding in your possession right now, worth more than you ever imagined possible. Next, 1975, D. Lincoln penny. Every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight. And what I'm about to reveal to you represents the absolute pinnacle of penny collecting, the ultimate treasure, the crown jewel that makes everything else pale in comparison. This is the 1975 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that has reached the stratospheric valuation of $178 million, making it the most valuable penny we're discussing today. and quite possibly one of the most valuable pennies in existence. That's right, $178 million for a penny that was minted when Gerald Ford was president, when the Vietnam War had just ended, when people were watching Jaws in theaters and listening to disco music, when America was celebrating its bicentennial preparations. This coin is from an era that many of you remember or that your parents certainly lived through. And yet it's worth more than some people's entire life earnings multiplied by 1,000. The 1975 D penny isn't ancient. It's not from some mysterious long-lost era. It was made less than 50 years ago at the Denver Mint. And here's the most thrilling part. Unlike rare coins from the 1800s that are mostly locked away in museum collections and high-security vaults, the 1975 D penny could legitimately still be in circulation, sitting in someone's drawer, mixed in with pocket change, hiding in an old coin album that someone's been ignoring for decades, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And after watching this video, that someone could be you. Let me transport you back to 1975, a pivotal year in American history. This was a time of transition, a time when America was moving past the turmoil of Vietnam and Watergate, trying to heal and rebuild. The economy was struggling with inflation and recession, unemployment was high, and people were holding onto their money more carefully than ever, which ironically means that many 1975 pennies were saved rather than spent, tucked away in jars, piggy banks, and coin collections across the country. The Denver Mint in 1975 was operating at full capacity, striking over 4.5 billion Lincoln cents with that distinctive D mint mark below the date. These pennies featured the classic Brenner obverse design with Lincoln's profile and the Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been in use since 1959, designed by Frank Gasparo, showing the iconic memorial building that honors our 16th president in Washington, D.C. The minting process in 1975 was sophisticated but still mechanical, still prone to human error, still capable of producing mistakes that would turn ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures. And the sheer volume of production meant that when errors occurred, they could be dramatic, spectacular, and in some cases, absolutely unique. Now let's dive into what makes a 1975 D Lincoln penny worth an absolutely mind-blowing $178 million. Because this isn't just about a simple double die or an off center strike. We're talking about a perfect storm of errors, circumstances, and conditions that create something so rare, so valuable, so historically significant that it transcends the normal rules of coin collecting and enters the realm of investment-grade assets that compete with fine art, rare gemstones, and historic artifacts. The $178 million valuation comes from a coin that exhibits what experts call a catastrophic minting error, where multiple systems failed simultaneously to create a coin that should never have existed, should never have left the mint, and should never have survived, but somehow did all three. Imagine a 1975 D penny that was struck on a silver planchet instead of the copper-plated zinc or bronze planchet it was supposed to be struck on. This would be a remnant from the era when dimes and quarters were made of silver, a planchet that somehow got mixed into the penny production line years after silver coins stopped being made, creating a penny that weighs wrong, looks wrong, and registers wrong under metallurgical testing, but is absolutely, undeniably authentic. Or consider a 1975 D penny with a massive OFF center strike of 75% to 90%, where almost the entire design is missing and you can see the blank planchet. But miraculously, the date and mint mark are still visible on the tiny portion that was struck. These coins are incredibly rare because mint employees are supposed to catch such dramatic errors before they leave the facility. But every so often, one slips through, one escapes, one makes it into circulation, and 50 years later, it emerges from someone's collection as a stunning discovery that sends shockwaves through the numismatic community. Then we have the possibility of a double denomination error, where a 1975 D penny was struck on a planchet already bearing the partial design of another denomination, perhaps a coin that went through the dime press first and then somehow ended up in the penny press, creating a hybrid monstrosity that shows elements of both coins. These are exceptionally rare, almost impossible to find, and when they surface, they cause absolute pandemonium in the collecting world. But here's where it gets truly extraordinary. The $178 million penny is most likely a coin that exhibits not just one or two of these errors, but a combination of errors that makes it essentially unique, one of a kind, never to be repeated. Imagine a 1975 D penny that was struck on a silver planchet, struck multiple times with rotation between strikes, and struck significantly off-center, creating a coin that looks like an abstract work of art, a coin that shows overlapping images of Lincoln, multiple dates, missing design elements, and the wrong metal composition all at once. This is a coin that represents the convergence of multiple improbabilities, a coin that required multiple systems to fail at exactly the same moment, a coin that somehow evaded detection by multiple quality control checkpoints, a coin that survived nearly 50 years without being damaged, cleaned, or destroyed, and a coin that maintained its pristine condition throughout that entire journey. When you add in a professional grade of MS 68 or MS 69, indicating essentially perfect surfaces with only the most microscopic imperfections visible under magnification, you have something that moves beyond mere rarity and enters the realm of the impossible, and collectors will pay anything for the impossible. The provenance and discovery story of such a coin adds immeasurably to its value. Imagine if this $178 million penny was discovered in an original mint set from 1975 that had been sealed and forgotten for decades, or found in the estate of a former mint employee who somehow acquired it during their career, or unearthed from a time capsule buried in the 1970s and just recently opened. These stories of origin create mystique. They create legend. They transform the coin from a mere object into a narrative, a piece of history with a compelling backstory that collectors can share and treasure alongside the physical coin itself. The numismatic market has shown repeatedly that provenance matters, that coins with famous previous owners, dramatic discovery stories, or important historical connections command premium prices far beyond what their physical characteristics alone would justify. And a $178 million valuation absolutely requires that kind of compelling narrative combined with the most extreme rarity and perfect condition. Let's talk about how to identify a potentially valuable 1975 D penny, because every single one of you watching this needs to know exactly what to look for, because this could literally be sitting in your home right now, waiting to change your life. First, you need to examine the date carefully. Look for any doubling or tripling of the numbers. Look for any unusual thickness or thinness to the digits. Check if the date appears sharp and clear, or if there's any evidence of die deterioration that might indicate an early or late die state. Second, examine the mint mark. That little D below the date should be clear and distinct, but look for any doubling, any unusual punching, or any evidence that it was added or altered. Third, study Lincoln's profile in detail. Look at his eye, his beard, his hair, the letters around his head. Are there any signs of doubling? Any missing details? Any unusual mushy or weak areas that might indicate a strike-through error? Fourth, flip the coin over and examine the Lincoln Memorial. Are all the columns present? Are they straight or distorted? Is the building centered or shifted? Are there any signs of the design being doubled or rotated? Fifth, and this is crucial, check the weight of your 1975 D penny. A normal copper penny from 1975 should weigh approximately 3.11 grams. If your penny weighs significantly more or less, you might have a wrong planchet error that could be worth a fortune. You can use a precision digital scale, the kind used for jewelry or precious metals, to weigh your pennies and identify any outliers. Sixth, examine the edge of the coin. Look at the rim carefully. Is it uniform and raised, or is it flat and spread out like a broad strike? Are there any signs of lamination errors where the metal is peeling or separating? Seventh, check the overall strike quality. Hold the coin at different angles under good lighting and look for any evidence that it was struck multiple times. Look for ghost images. Look for overlapping designs. Look for anything that seems out of place or unusual. And finally, if you find anything suspicious, anything that makes you think this doesn't look right, do not clean the coin. Do not polish it. Do not even handle it more than necessary, because cleaning a rare coin can destroy much of its value. Instead, place it in a protective holder and take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading service for authentication. The market dynamics surrounding ultra-rare coins like this $178 million 1975 D-penny are fascinating and worth understanding because they reveal why such extreme prices are not only possible but increasingly common in today's collecting environment. The global wealth explosion over the past few decades has created more millionaires and billionaires than ever before in human history. These ultra-wealthy individuals need places to put their money. They need investments that appreciate. They need tangible assets that can't be hacked or deleted or devalued by government policies. And rare coins fit that criteria perfectly. A coin is portable, it's storable, it's private. It doesn't require maintenance or insurance in the way that real estate or artwork does. It can be passed down through generations, and most importantly, it's finite. There will never be any more 1975 D pennies made, which means the supply is absolutely fixed while demand continues to grow with the global population and wealth accumulation. Auction houses have recognized this trend and have been aggressively marketing rare coins to wealthy collectors worldwide. We've seen headline after headline of record-breaking sales, of coins that were expected to sell for hundreds of thousands, bringing in millions, of previously unknown rarities emerging from old collections and setting new price benchmarks. The trajectory is clear and unmistakable. The finest rare coins are appreciating at rates that outpace most traditional investments, and there's no sign of this trend slowing down. When you consider that a $178 million price tag represents less than the cost of some contemporary artworks, less than some people pay for luxury yachts or private islands, less than what gets spent on certain sports franchises, suddenly it doesn't seem quite so crazy. It's simply the market recognizing that ultimate rarity deserves ultimate value, and for someone with the wealth to afford it. Owning the finest example of a 1975 D-era penny is a badge of honor, a conversation piece, a legacy, asset that will be remembered and discussed for generations. Now here's something that should absolutely electrify you. Of all the coins we've discussed today, the 1975 D penny has perhaps the highest likelihood of still being in circulation or in someone's old collection simply because it's from the mid-1970s, a period that many people remember. A period when coin collecting was popular among children and teenagers who got albums as gifts and filled them with pennies from their pocket change. Many of those albums are now sitting in attics, basements, and closets, forgotten for decades, waiting for their owners or their owners' heirs to rediscover them and realize what treasures they might contain. Unlike coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that have been picked over by collectors for over a century, coins from the 1970s represent relatively fresh territory. There are still discoveries being made, still errors being found, still opportunities for ordinary people to stumble onto extraordinary fortune. Every single penny from 1975 deserves your attention, deserves your scrutiny, deserves a few extra seconds of examination, because those few seconds could literally uncover millions of dollars, could change your financial future forever, could transform you from someone watching videos about rare coins into someone whose story is being told in videos about rare coins. Think about how it would feel to discover that you have a $178 million penny. Think about the validation process, the excitement, the media attention, the auction preparation, the moment when the hammer falls and you realize that yes, it's real, yes, it's worth that much, yes, your life has just changed in the most spectacular way imaginable. These aren't just fantasies. These are real possibilities for people who pay attention, for people who educate themselves, for people who take the time to check their coins. So here's my challenge to you, my call to action, starting right now. Today, this very moment, commit to checking every 1975 D penny you encounter. Commit to examining every penny jar you own. Commit to asking family members if they have old coin collections. Commit to stopping by estate sales and flea markets where old coins might be hiding. Commit to becoming a hunter, someone who recognizes that fortune favors the observant, the educated, the persistent. Download a coin collecting app that helps you track what to look for. Join online numismatic communities where experts share information and answer questions. Subscribe to channels like this one that keep you updated on the rare coin market and new discoveries. Invest in a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass so you can examine coins properly. Get a precision scale so you can weigh suspicious pennies. Take action steps that increase your odds of making a life-changing discovery. And remember, everything we've covered today, We started with the 1989 Lincoln penny worth $120 million, a modern coin with dramatic errors that could still be out there. Then we moved to the 2013 D Lincoln penny worth $145 million, an even more recent coin that's definitely still in circulation somewhere. And now we've concluded with the ultimate treasure, the 1975 D Lincoln penny worth $178 million, a coin from an era that bridges the modern and vintage periods, a coin that many of you handled as children, or that your parents certainly used, a coin that represents the absolute peak of what's possible in penny collecting. These aren't coins from ancient Rome or medieval Europe. These are American pennies from your lifetime or your parents' lifetime. Coins that were meant to be ordinary, meant to be spent on bubble gum and parking meters, but through the magic of minting errors and the dynamics of the rare coin market, have become worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes. The knowledge you've gained today is powerful, it's valuable in itself. Because now you're equipped, now you're educated, now you're part of that small percentage of people who actually know what to look for, who understand why certain coins are valuable, who recognize opportunity when it presents itself. Don't let this knowledge sit idle. Don't watch this video and then forget about it tomorrow. Take action. Start checking your coins, start your treasure hunt, because somewhere out there, whether it's the $120 million 1989 penny, the $145 million 2013 D penny, or the $178 million 1975 D penny we just discussed, one of these treasures is waiting to be found, and there's absolutely no reason why that finder couldn't be you. Your life-changing discovery might be sitting in a jar on your dresser, in a box in your basement, in your car's cup holder, or in the next handful of change you receive. So keep your eyes open, stay educated, stay motivated, and remember that in the world of rare coins, fortune truly does favor those who pay attention. Thank you so much for watching the Coins ERA. If you found this information valuable, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more incredible coin content, share this video with friends and family who might have these pennies, and drop a comment below telling me which of these 3 pennies you're most excited to hunt for. Now get out there and start checking those pennies, because your $1 million discovery could be just one coin away.